Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to another trading session. Well, it is Tuesday, the second day of the week, the second day of the month as well, and the second day of the second trading day of the month as well. So it's quite a clean month this December month. So yeah, I hope you're doing well. Hope your week is starting well as well. So yeah, I guess let's get straight to business. I mean, let's get straight to whatever the market wants to do today and wherever our expectations are. So, yeah, let's zoom out a little bit here. And just to see what I'm seeing as well. So yeah, yesterday we had a strange day, a harsh opening. We were able to. I started with a loss here, but was able to mitigate the loss with this trade here. I left a runner, but the runner never reached my ultimate target, which was about previous day high. And yeah, I had another buy side liquidity here, which I was expecting price to reach, but it kind of fell short and never delivered to it, and then it got stopped out here around these values here. But what I'm seeing here, as you can see as well, if I zoom out a little bit, we have all this range here as an accumulation. Then we have a small manipulation to the downside here. Now we are distributing higher eventually to reach previous day high. So in terms of bias, I guess I'm still bullish on a higher time frame. I'm still bullish as well. So I'm probably expecting previous day high to work as our main draw on liquidity, and eventually regular trading hours buy side liquidity here as well, as you can see here. If I switch to the regular trading hour chart, you can see there's a lot of liquidity here left from yesterday's drop on the PM session. And yeah, we will open somewhere around this area here, so we will eventually leave an opening range gap right at the open, and I'm curious to see how does it how it will react to that opening range gap. So we have about 1 minute before the open. It's 9:29 right now, 1 minute, and we are already seeing some displacement lower, which can eventually mark a Judas swing. But yeah, we will have to let the market run for the first minutes and eventually see how it will react on the opening range gap as well. Because right now we have an SMT in between ES and Q on at least on the 15-minute time frame. I believe the 1 hour, yeah, we have an SMT on the 1 hour as well. So price can eventually retrace a little bit before heading towards our draws on liquidity, which are previous day high and regular trading hour buy side liquidity point here. This shaded area here, this small shaded area, is the actual NWOG, but as you can see, price is trading inside a bigger one here. It's an old new week opening gap here, an old NWOG, and so far the quadrants are being respected, as you can see here. Midpoint is being respected, as well as the first quadrant here. So let's see if price continues to respect the quadrants of this older NWOG. So that would eventually mean that, okay, we will get further and we will eventually keep rising until we reach at least previous day high. But yeah, I guess time will tell us. Will we will need to let the market run for the first couple of minutes and see if it takes out some minor sell side liquidity first, before heading towards higher levels. So I will mark these previous, I mean these pre-market lows. So pre-market lows here. These are relative equal lows here as well. So it would be acceptable for price to come here, take this pre-market low out, and eventually react from there, and giving us some sort of a inversion type of play, just to see it run a little bit higher. Let's wait. Let's wait a bit. I'm not in a rush to take anything, so I'll try not to chase anything as well, despite having a clear bias. And yeah, I will mark the 950 to 1010 macro here. So 950 to 1010. And I will place it around these pre-market lows. Oh, I mean, we'll mark the 930 open candle as well. So where's the 930 open candle? It's right here. So 930 and 830 are quite stacked here. They are next to each other. And we have midnight open here. So it means that price is now in a premium. We are better probably waiting for it to wait for it to reach a little bit of a discount price. It seems like looking at NQ, I'm looking at NQ right now, and NQ is already moving towards new highs, taking out pre-market highs. So quite a strong opening on NQ, but ES not quite following it. Let me switch to YM just to see what YM is doing and how it is behaving. So quite bearish here on NQ, quite weak, heading towards pre-market lows. So the first couple of minutes, we can say that NQ is the strongest, YM the weakest, and as usual, ES is the one who stays in the middle. So it's a more, it's like a more I mean, balanced. Yeah, it's not. I was searching for the word. It's like a more balanced behavior. God damn it. Sometimes we search for the words in our main language, but they doesn't they don't have a direct meaning on other languages. So yeah, NQ is still pushing here. Quite an aggressive move right at the open. But as you can see, ES is still struggling to go above 930. So let me take a look at the regular trading hours. So yeah, ES not even going inside the opening range gap. Let me take a look at NQ, because NQ had a, yeah, NQ as well. NQ just shot down, shot straight up. straight move to the upside on NQ. And the S is now following, I guess. Well, there's not much we can do here. So we have the first presented fair value gap. I guess this might be left open, but let me just check. Yeah, this run, especially from NQ, is quite suspicious to me. But yeah, our draw is it's getting reached here on ES. So ES just took out these minor sell side liquidity lows, as you can see here. So this is just a minor liquidity. I wish we had gone a little bit lower, eventually taking out pre-market lows, but NQ didn't reach for those as well. With this move, we are above 50% of that NWOG. So we touched now the first presented fair value gap. Yeah, so ES is really reaching for buy side liquidity now. Quite an aggressive opening, aggressive move to the upside, especially on NQ. Let me take a look at YM. If YM just gained some sort of strength here. Yeah, but it doesn't. It really didn't gain any sort of strength here with the move from NQ or ES. It came for the pre-market lows that I would like to see being taken on ES. ES didn't deliver like that. So we left regular trading our buy side liquidity. We are making another retest of the first presented fair value gap so far. And NQ is making a pit stop. So I'm curious to see if the first presented fair value gap will eventually get inverted and price will eventually come for those pre-market lows, or if price is not able to close below the midpoint of this first presented fair value gap, and we will do something like this. Because it's kind of strange that price left buy side liquidity here, but as I told you, it was kind of strange, the run from NQ as well. So ES at this point is trying to test and break below the first presented fair value gap. The wick doing a lot of damage here. Let me take a look at the opening range gap. Yeah, this can mark that SMT because we are still inside of an SMT on ES, in between ES and NQ. It's quite a hard read here, but because they are quite divergent right now, ES and NQ. Yeah, still watching. Still observing price. NQ didn't retrace much. Yes, did a harsher retrace, but it's still respecting the first presented fair value gap. But yeah, in order to be bearish here, I wish we could have taken out this regular trading hour session buy side liquidity. It doesn't mean that you can go take it out and then move lower once again. But at this point it's kind of a hard read. And Q started to drive a little bit lower, eventually retracing from that run. And let's see if ES will take some sort of sell side liquidity first and then move to the upside, or if this was just the Judas swing to the upside and will eventually drive us lower from here towards let me just check pre-market lows, midnight open, and eventually London low, but I'm not sure about that bias. I'm more inclined for a continuation higher. The only problem here is that I would like to see some sort of sell side liquidity being purged first. So far, 9:30 open and 8:30 open are holding price here on ES. But we went back inside this range here, as you can see. So price was stuck inside a range here, and we went back inside of it. This was kind of a false breakout. So now the question is, will we drive lower from here, or will we just take out some measure of sell side liquidity and then continue higher? That's what I would like to see on price. It's real intention. Seems like it's getting a bit heavy here on ES especially. At this point, seems like NQ would like to push a little bit higher, but at the same time, ES is not letting it push much more. Let me just take a look once again at YM just to see how YM is behaving here. And let me take a look at the opening range gap as well. So at this point, we have sell side liquidity here as well. So this is the low from the opening price. If we are still bullish, we can do something like this. Because, yeah, NQ is not letting ES moving much lower from here. NQ is still pushing so far, but let's see. At this point, it's just a ranging market, as you can see here. So we are not missing anything. We are definitely not missing anything here. Let me go to the 2 minutes here just to see, because at this point we are rejecting the midpoint of this NWOG. Now we are displacing lower. So at this point we took out some minor sell side liquidity from the opening range gap, the opening price here. Mm-hmm. 930 and 830. They're not acting as support anymore. So now let's see if these bearish PD arrays, we'll have to wait for the closure of this candle, but we will see if these bearish PD arrays will be somehow respected. So we got the closure here. We have the first bearish fair value gap here. Yeah, but right away I'm not liking how how the first reaction to this bearish fair value gap is being built here. At least price was not able to close inside of it. Yeah, see. Yeah, price getting inside of the range once again here, inverting this bearish fair value gap. So this might be enough for ES to move higher from here because we took out sell side liquidity, as you can see here. So if we leave this fair value gap open and we move above this candle here, we have a breaker, and we can expect price to eventually continue higher from here. So we are inside of the macro as well. Nice reaction here from price. Let's see if we can get a retouch inside one of these inefficiencies here. So let's see if we can get above the first presented fair value gap once again here. At this point, we have the breaker acting as support. We have the inversion fair value gap here. We have the opens acting as support as well. Yeah, so far, a nice reaction here. We'll just let it run a little bit. So this might be the Judas swing. At this point, I will move my stop to break even since we are approaching this high. Nice move here, taking out regular trading hour sell side, buy side liquidity. I mean, let's see if we can get another push. Yeah, so far not looking bad. I just would like to see price coming above the midpoint of this NWOG. Remember that this is the actual NWOG. Let's see if price is really able to invert this NWOG. I really would like to see some strength now. But since we are taking a little bit of time here, I will probably take some off. Nice. What did I do? Guess I will have to cut it out. I just did. Yeah, I don't know what I did here, but I will probably have to cut this off. Yeah, I really don't know what I did here. I just bought, but I was did I bought here? Because I was looking at, yeah, maybe, probably. I did some mistake here, but yeah, at least we end up with something. Yeah, I did a mistake here. I bought 4. I was I was trying to sell 4 micros, but instead of it I bought 4. But yeah, it happens. So at least we managed to close the position in profit here. And as you can see, this NWOG is really acting as a resistance now. That's why I decided to take some partials, ended up closing the full position, but it is what it is. But as you can see, this is quite a resistance on price, and eventually we can see it retrace a little bit lower and eventually reaching for the first presented fair value gap once again. Yeah, did a minor mistake here, honestly. I swear I was watching the sell, but ended up buying it. I will have to look for the replay, honestly. But yeah, the trade of the day is done here. I guess kind of a shame that I would like to participate a little bit more because I was willing to take out 4, but instead of it, I just bought 4 and ended up with 9 micros. But I kind of like how price is moving here. We have previous day high here right away. So we are probably working on the inversion of this NWOG. Yeah, I'm watching the replay and I didn't click on the buy. It automatically moved to the buy option as soon as I moved my mouse. Yeah, that's and I didn't notice it. But yeah, see, price came back once again to the first presented fair value gap. At this point, my position would be stopped out at break even. Yeah, I'm glad I decided to take it out. harsh retrace back to the first presented fair value gap after taking out regular trading hours sell side buy side liquidity. And yeah, the NWOG kind of acted as a resistance on price here. So now I'm curious to see if this is just a manipulation, moving price back to the first presented fair value gap, or if we really will explore these pre-market lows and eventually midnight open. But I'm not quite sure about it, since I'm more inclined for a bullish scenario. So I will take this out of here. So I would like to see this fair value gap being inverted. And this would give us the retrace back to the breaker and back to the first presented fair value gap. And yeah, if I haven't closed my position here, I would be at break even right now because of this harsh retrace. I guess we will have the continuation to the upside here. I'm just waiting. And if we don't, we might expect lower prices, because at this point we still have the opening range gap to fulfill here. As you can see, it's still open. Yeah, but on bullish cases, and when price is really in a hurry, in a rush to go for buy side liquidity, you can leave these gaps open. So there we go. Acting as a inversion type of fair value gap here. So this was just a manipulation, lower, just a retrace. And we will probably visit previous day high next. So this can eventually act as another entry. It's just another form of the model. What about you guys? Have you done anything yet? Are you just watching? Or are you still long? Because if you haven't moved your stop to break even, you're still on. But with the move of my stop loss to break even, and I knew I was pushing it on a hard way, I know, but that's why I decided to close everything. And after noticing that I added 4 more micros to my position, I had to close everything. So what happened was that I was with the cursor just above market sell order, but then when I moved from market sell to market buy, it somehow, and I'm not sure how, because it's not doing it right now. It just probably I made something like this. I don't know, but that was kind of strange. We'll have to we'll have to rewatch the replay just to understand what did I do wrong. Because I was here with the cursor here, and then I moved it outside of the box, and the moment I moved it outside of the box, the cursor just selected market buy, and I don't know why. Maybe I did something like this. I'm not sure. So yeah, price is now taking some time here. Actually, NQ is holding a little bit because it already moved a lot since the open. That's why ES is just mumbling here. Um, yeah, I'm still into a long bias here, especially towards previous day high, or at least towards previous day high. But since NQ already moved a lot, it can mean that, okay, yes, we'll just leave it open and an SMT will form on a higher time frame. Yeah, on the 15 minutes, NQ is behaving like it wants to retrace. Let's see if this will just be in an immediate rebalance of price, or if it wants to go lower, especially for that 15-minute fair value gap that it formed right at the open, as you can see here, the 930 candle as a gap, which is a busy or a bullish fair value gap. So it can happen that NQ wants to go and retest that busy And if so, I believe ES will go a little bit lower, probably back inside the range or eventually even lower. Yeah, I really don't know what's happening with my camera, honestly. I should have been. I should been able. I should be able to connect it with my PC, but it's not working anymore, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because of Canon's software or something like that, and that's why it's always uh, turning itself off because it thinks that it's not connected to anything. So I already turned off the auto switch off, but it keeps on switching off automatically. So not sure about what's going on with the camera, honestly. So yeah, pretty ugly price action right now. So the last couple of 25 minutes, price has done nothing. Still working this NWOG here. So we were kind of blessed here, closing the full position. Otherwise, the partial, at least the partial, would have been stopped out. Yeah, but it seems like NQ just did a immediate rebalance on the 15 minutes, and it's now ready to go for another run. This might be our order block now on ES, but we need to see a clean closure above it. Yeah, back inside the order block, so it's now working all this piece of price action. These three down close candles here, they mark um, the bullish order block, so price can eventually stay inside of it for as long as it wants, and then eventually take some sort of liquidity just to move towards our drawn liquidity, which is still previous day high, despite NQ already taken it. And yes, deciding to revisit the first presented fair value gap, but watch how we left these highs here. Pretty highs, honestly. Very clean highs, which I presume they will not last for long. Usually when price usually lefts or leaves, I mean, edges like this, clean and smooth edges like this, it usually turns back to it. So it's just a matter of time and just a matter of taking some more liquidity out just to engage with it once again. Nice displacement to the downside here. So NQ is really heading towards that 15-minute fair value gap that I was talking about, which is making ES move a little bit lower, as you can see here once again. So now we have to think if price really wants to, because if you look into NQ chart and ES chart, they are not that similar. So NQ has a 15-minute bullish fair value gap holding price, and meanwhile ES doesn't have it. So now we have to see if that 15-minute fair value gap on NQ will act as support both on ES and on NQ. Because if you look into ES's price action, it turned out to be kind of bearish right now, especially on a 15-minute. So yeah, it can be just a manipulation, but we can see lower prices from here as well, especially if NQ decides to lose its 15-minute fair value gap. So pre-market lows we're taking right now on ES. So notice how we moved from buy side liquidity to sell side liquidity, which is these pre-market lows. And yeah, in the beginning of the stream, I was talking about these lows, which I said that I would like to see those taken out, but we moved to a long position here because on the regular trading hours we took out these lows, and it was quite enough for price to reach for regular trading hour buy side liquidity. But right now we still have to wait, because right now we have this bearish fair value gap, and if this bearish fair value gap gets respected here, and the opens got respected as well, and we do something like this, we will probably head towards midnight open. On the other hand, if price just starts to move like this, we will probably revisit these highs, which are too clean for me, honestly. Usually we tend to revisit those. Price usually just needs to grab some sort of liquidity, which we did right now. And if we start to climb inside this bearish fair value gap, we might as well go for these highs. So it's just a matter of waiting now and assessing what NQ wants to do as well. Because if NQ wants to go probably lower, then ES will follow, and we might end up revisiting midnight open. Yeah, so far not a clean price action, but it's quite usual. We are in the month of December, so in the first days of December, so this price action can eventually be quite common. Usually the first days of the month are days where manipulations might happen. So yeah, so far we are being manipulated, especially on NQ. So this bearish fair value gap was almost left open, which can indicate bearishness on price. And right now, just let me take a look at the opening range gap and measure where we are inside of the opening range gap. So I will mark this just like that. So I want to see the closure here and the open there. So we went for precisely 50% of the opening range gap here. Statistically, if we move below the 50% of it, usually we tend to go for the closure. But if we stay inside of 50% of it and price is not able to close below it, then we shall eventually seek for higher prices. Let me take a look at the higher time frames just to see how this is. Yeah, on higher time frames, you can see that it's quite ugly price action. So there's no direction in the market right now. We are just stalling since the 26th of November. We are just ranging on higher time frames. So we cannot demand, in terms of targets, we cannot demand a lot. We should be content with lower hanging fruits and with first targets, and not trying to stretch our targets to the maximum of it, since we are inside of a range. So price can go for a minor sell side or buy side liquidity, and then okay, that's enough, and price will move in the other direction. So it's quite common inside of ranging periods. So 50% of the opening range gap was rebalanced here. And now let's see if we start climbing higher from here and eventually invert this fair value gap. Because if we are able to invert this fair value gap, it means that these highs, everyone who's shorting this might be in danger. So price is always looking for stops, because stops are a form of liquidity. So we really slowed down here, kind of a pit stop on price. But we are at the same time approaching the next macro. So the 50 the 950 macro didn't deliver much. So I hope that this macro will eventually deliver a little bit more. And as you can see right now, price is trying to get above that bearish fair value gap, just like I said minutes ago. So the way this move happened, it was indicating that we were probably um, in front of a manipulation, because it kind of stopped right at 50% of the opening range gap. It was one-sided, pretty fast. It left relative equal highs behind, so this might be another entry here. To go for previous day high. especially if we leave this gap here open. If this gap stays open here, so this was the time distortion, which ICT usually talks. And yeah, this might be the 1050 macro move. It's a bit early. We are still 8 minutes away from 1050, but it can happen that these types of moves can eventually start a little bit earlier. So as I told you, this will probably be left open, this first gap. So there is no chance, if you're not anticipating this, there is no chance to get into something like this. If you expect it to come once again back to this fair value gap. So now we are just waiting for eventually a small retrace into this volume imbalance. If I zoom in, you can see, yeah, this volume imbalance here, or eventually this second gap. So actually the entry would be around here. And your stop should be below the midpoint of this gap to be secure. Because it doesn't mean that it won't go for the first gap, but it usually is a sign of strength when it leaves it open. So pretty one-sided move from here. So if this move goes directly towards these highs, I would not be interested to chase anything, because the liquidity were been taken, and yeah, we might end up getting inside of this range once again. So this might happen eventually. I'll take this out from here, make it a little bit cleaner. This one will get out as well. So this was our breaker. So yeah, this would be this volume imbalance here that you can see here. We expect price to come from for this volume imbalance here, because it usually doesn't leave it open. Yeah, it seems like it will be a one-sided move, so I would not advise you to enter a long position if after that buy side liquidity purge price comes back inside the range or retraces back inside. Buying here, I would say that you're trying to chase something. Because look at the market is giving us higher highs, so far lower lows as well. So this might end up be a seek and destroy pattern as well, especially after these one-sided moves. There we go. Taking out buy side liquidity as these relative equal highs. So this was pretty obvious for me. The problem here is the price just displaced and just moved directly towards these highs. And I'm curious to see if it will move continuously to previous day high, because this was our main draw on liquidity, or if we will get back inside the range and do nothing, because if price really comes back inside the range, that would eventually open some precedents for bad price action. But let's see. Yeah, I can feel that a lot of people might be waiting for a retrace lower just to engage with this bullish move. But yeah, at this point, it would be dangerous to take it. Where do I have my 1050 macro? So 1050 to 1110 macro. Yeah, the move started a little bit earlier than we would like to. And completely one-sided. And it will go for previous day high on ES at this point. So if you're not taking any aggressive entry here, you would ended up being sidelined here. So no chance to get into something like this. So let me just move this projection here, the earlier projection, to this new movement down. So swing high to swing low. We stopped right at minus 1.5 standard deviation. We have big confluence. We have a big confluence here with previous day high at -2. Mm. It's like the camera is back. So let's get back to it. So look how the manipulation was done from the actual NWOG. After taking out regular trading hour buy side liquidity, it came back towards pre-market lows, which had some confluence with 25% of this bigger NWOG that we are working inside. And yeah, price just moved from here. It kind of inverted right away. This big SIBI moved above the first presented fair value gap. It never retouched or never retraced back inside of these imbalances, which can mean that price is really in a hurry to reach something, and that something was these highs here, not giving any chance to the short sellers to rearrange their stops. And now we are moving towards previous day high, which has a confluence with a projection here, -2 standard deviation. And look where price stopped as well for a pit stop, 75% of that NWOG. So price is really moving from quadrants to quadrants inside of this new week opening gap. So you can use this as a grid, just to have an idea about where price is going to stop or where price is going to act in some type of way. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, honestly. But yeah, guys, I can feel a lot of people being quite frustrated with the market today, because just like yesterday, because yesterday was something like that as well. It acted like a whipsaw here. So straight move to the upside, straight move to the downside, straight move to the upside. And then it kind of retraced back into equilibrium of this previous leg, but it was a back and forth action. And today we have the same behavior where price just to the upside, downside, downside, and now upside once again, but not giving any chance for players to interact with it, unless you were some type of a aggressive player that was somehow anticipating this as a Judas swing, as a move, as a manipulation move, and expecting price to reach for those highs. I was expecting, as you can see, but even expecting this type of move, I was not able to engage with it. unless I would have been engaged with it around here. But if I was wrong, price could have done something like this as well, and leaving these lows for some later action. So there was no confirmation here for that app move. Let's see if we will get previous day high, because previous day high was in fact our main draw on liquidity. So it should be taken sooner or later. At this point, we still have an SMT in between ES and NQ. Harsh move to the downside here, taking out those late buyers. Yeah, but closing above the actual NWOG. This was a nice inversion type of this NWOG. Price still needs to get above the quadrant of this old NWOG. And it's not much left here. As soon as previous day high gets taken here, just take a look at, yeah. Take a look at the 4-hour. Yeah, we still have we have this buy side liquidity here. We still have these relative equal highs on the 4-hour chart, which I believe NQ is reaching for as well. Yeah. Yeah, NQ is it's still far away from it, but I believe it will reach for it. And just a small push, and we will reach for previous day high on ES, just like expected since the beginning of the stream. The road was not clean, I have to admit. The drive towards previous day high was not clean at all. It offered a lot of Judas swings. It offered the first Judas swing here, another one here. Yeah, I can say that this initial push was also a Judas swing, but yeah, it was definitely not a clean road towards previous day high. See, a pit stop here at the last quadrant of that NWOG. Harsh displacement, leaving previous day high on ES behind. So price is really acting in a seek and destroy environment right now. So it made this one-sided move towards these highs. We had some more around here, but it turned around right before reaching it. And yeah, it's finishing everybody. This is the type of market, as soon as you have your low-hanging fruit reached, yeah, you should take profits, because it will not give you a second chance to engage with it. And now displacing lower. Tough market today, honestly. But so far, NWOG is is holding here. I'm not sure if it will at this point. But I believe whenever we have these one-sided moves, large moves, and they stop right away, we usually have a manipulation on our hands. So this might end up just be a retrace, a harsh retrace, because 1 minute just erases about, I don't know, 11.6. Yeah, more, about 20 minutes of price action in 1 minute. So that's quite frustrating if you're long, especially if you're trying to chase that move towards previous day high. Seeing a 20-minute move being wiped out in 1 minute, it's quite frustrating. But yeah, as I said, I would not be interested in longing this after we take out these highs, because it was a one-sided move. So at some point, these candles here are full of long chasers, and these long chasers must be somehow punished. They place their stops around these red candles eventually, but price will somehow find a way to wipe them out of the market. Yeah, this is really a hard environment today. See, it's like a seek and destroy. Every high, every new high that is giving to us will eventually be retraced in a harsh way, in a hard way, or eventually get wiped out in a couple of minutes. So this is really a tough position to be in inside of a market like this. Yeah, I'm really glad I decided to take most of my position here out, because I was kind of expecting this type of movements. Because on higher time frames we are still ranging, and ended up closing the full position because I accidentally added 4 micros to my original position and had to close it. So yeah, I'm glad it happened, honestly, because otherwise I would have been stopped out at break even. But yeah, it's a harsh environment. This all reminds me of this. It kind of reminds me of a megaphone pattern where new highs are followed by new lows. So this is really, really hard to trade unless you will sell every new high and buy every new low. But doing that it's kind of tricky because you have to do it blindly, and approaching a market like this blindly, it's very hard. So this to me is a no-go. It's a no trade market. Just let it do whatever it wants to do, and yeah, just let it be. Because you never know when this pattern will eventually stop. It can stop here. It can eventually continue lower. You will never know. See how we are wiping out this one-sided move, and how I said to you that I was not interested in buy any sort of retrace as soon as we take out these highs, because it was a one-sided move towards these highs, not giving us any chance to get into it. So what does retail do? It chases. So all this movement after taking out these highs, it was long traders trying to chase a long move. Didn't work, as you can see here. So wherever you placed your stop here, if you placed your stop here, you would be cooked. If you placed your stop here, you would be cooked. Down here, you would be cooked. And down here, you would be cooked as well. So in this type of environments, you better stay away from it. And notice how we moved like this. It doesn't mean that it will continue lower. We are stopping right at the first quadrant, right where price just reverted from the first time. We can still take out these lows, and that would confirm the megaphone pattern. But we can eventually go further, eventually towards midnight open, fake out something, a breakout here, a breakdown, I mean, fake out this breakdown from that NWOG, inverting some sort of a bearish fair value gap, and then move towards all the way up once again because we left open previous day high. So this is totally a game of chasing stops and chasing liquidity right now. And you have to think as a algo which is chasing liquidity. And where is liquidity right now? Below these stops, below these lows, and above these highs. And if we look a little bit further, we have liquidity around these lows as well. Regular trading hour session, sell side liquidity below these ones. So yeah. I can see this market turned out to be very frustrating and annoying to play. So that's why I'm telling you guys, stay out of it. Just let the lunch hour develop. It will take out some sort of liquidity, and just let the first minutes or the first hour of the New York PM session develop as well, and then you will probably have some better perspective about what's going on and about what the market wants to do, because right now it's just a ping pong action type of market. So yeah, guys, and with that said, I think I will end the stream here. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions, just type them, and I will try to to answer them. But yeah, it turned out to be not a bad day for us. But yeah, at some point I expected pre-market lows to be taken, especially when price was here. But then I saw on the regular trading hour session that we took out the sell side liquidity. And since market was moving towards the breaker and moving outside of it, I took a long, closed the majority of the position here. But at the same time, I opened 4 more contracts or 4 more micros accidentally and had to close the full position here, not leaving any type of runner, because my initial idea was to leave a runner towards previous day high. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been stopped out break even with the runner. And yeah, I guess this kind of ends my trading day here and my trading session as well. So look how we are trying to get below the quadrant, but not doing it successfully right now. But I'm still expecting these lows to get taken here. Yeah, guys, I guess that's it. We are 2 hours in as well. Well, horrible price action, honestly. Not the best trading session in terms of price action. Really bad price action, honestly. But yeah, we ended up green, and I think that's what matters. Probably this type of price action, we will probably see it on a repeat for the next couple of days. So try to not force anything, try to take out majority of positions at low hanging fruits, not expecting bigger moves or moves that are very stretched. And that's it, I guess. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for being there, and hope to see you tomorrow once again. Same time, same place. And yeah, stay safe, I guess. See ya.